This is the introduction to the resources board. For each client, we have a monthly board and a resources board. The resources board is really a archive of all important information that we are building up during the time that we are working with our client, and it's information we need to access regularly and slowly build onto. This is a board of a medium size account, which means that the account has been with us for a little while but not super long. So other accounts that are younger or older have either more or less cards on them. It will be the account admin's task to keep this board updated and slowly add onto it. You will see it has quite a few lists, and I will run through each one of those lists one by one, so that you can get an idea of what the information is about. I'm not going through each card because that would be too much information. So the details are basically like your little address book. It's got our addresses on here so that we can so a client can get hold of us, and it's got the client's details, company details, account admin details, and this is when we're working on the account and if there's any time difference between client and us, so that we don't have to ask, we can just find this information. We just ask it once and then we can find it for future. The conclusions card is really to keep track of of the marketing efforts that have been done to date. So web stats are your typical bounce rate, hits, clicks, and in some cases e-commerce stats, how much sales they made through the website. Social media stats has got how many Facebook likes, how many Twitter likes, how many all of those kind of likes and followers. That's on there. Obviously, we only add on there as we are building their social media channels. The newsletter stats, yes, you guessed it, it's email newsletters. How many people opened, how many people clicked through, how many unsubscribes, those kind of things. And this shouldn't be there anymore. Directory submissions, we often submit websites to directories so that we can start building backlinks. So you can tick off on this card how many backlinks you've created. This is SEO optimization and other SEO related aspects. And on the design card, how much design is sorted out for the client, such as logo, business card, those kind of things. In this particular case, there's a web shop. So in this, for this client, we've created a separate list and we've just adjusted this matching this shop structure, and we've added products there, and we use this to keep track on which products are being loaded, completed, images, etc., etc. So that's not always in every resources board. Here's a design list, which is really maintained and looked after by the designers. There is an important thing to note, and that is, which is not done correctly here. Here's a Facebook timeline cover. This contains the template for the Facebook timeline cover. Not every single timeline cover done. The same for the blog post. It's just the template. And a template is different from what we call a blog image. A template is really like how the layout, how it sits on the page, what font size, what color, how the picture sits on the page, where the logo sits, what the size is. But the actual picture and the actual text, that will change with every blog, and that picture would travel only with the blog and not sit on the design list. So this needs some cleaning up. Then there is a social media list, which contains your typical Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Google+, YouTube, and Hootsuite is our social media posting software we use. These accounts are slowly being added on and worked on, and sometimes they're being taken over from already existing when the client has set them up. Content is not necessarily only web content. It can contain photographs, but also other content. Inspiration for the client. Sometimes it contains books, ebooks, free downloads, testimonials, customer spotlight, as you can see. Here are a few different books that are added here as content. So it's everything that is information relating to the client that can be distributed through various channels. And channels, which is the next list, can be website. So this content can be distributed through the website, but this content can also be distributed through social media. This content can be distributed through the email database, through email itself, etc., etc. And obviously, website needs to be found. So channels is a bit of a rough one. I didn't have a particularly better description for it, but login information for websites, making sure the website's listed on various search engines, making sure emails that are for general use are available, and the login for the hosting in the cPanel. And lastly, typically only in use when a website's being built, a flowchart, recipe, so this all relating to the web content. In this particular case, the web shop was taking up the most of the effort, so the web shop was separated out from this one. And you may ignore this because that will be added onto a diff. It's not always there. So yeah, that's a typical resources board. I just want to show you what it looks like if you have a very young account. So this is a very new account. The company name is not spelled correctly. The details haven't been filled in yet. Client name hasn't filled in yet. We do have an admin on it, and it may have times already. The lists are all there, but not much is added. Now, the typical mistake would be to copy all those template cards over and then start filling them in. That is not how we work. We only copy over a card, then start working on them. When the card is done as far as we can, then we take the next card and work on it. So we slowly build up this board so that it's not overwhelming for an account admin, it's not overwhelming for us to check, and it's not overwhelming for the client to see what has been done and what hasn't been done yet. So you take one card at a time and add them slowly but surely, and you go through each checklist. Now, to show you what that looks like after 4 years is something like this, which has a lot of stuff on it. Specifically here, when you go to, we created a separate one for this particular brand, but if you look at the channels, there's a whole lot of stuff on there. Social media, it's got a whole lot of stuff, and design's got a whole lot of stuff as well. So yeah, this is a mature account, and that's the resources board.